What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Foxhound Finance, where we analyze the stock market using technical analysis. Please understand that I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing in these videos is financial advice. Please do your own research and buy what you want to buy. All right, guys, first things first, Happy New Year. We are now 10 days into 2026. World news-wise, there's a lot of crazy shit already kicking the year off. But today's video is just going to be purely about AMC. It's going to be more of a deep dive analysis. The first thing we're going to do is jump in and look at the domestic yearly box office to see how we compared to last year. And then I'm going to jump into the normal TA stuff, obviously, and we're going to look at the charts, and I'm going to show you kind of where we're at now. I know we had an exciting 10 to 13% move Friday, so we're going to analyze that, and I'm going to show you guys the overall trajectory of what I'm seeing and where we're at. Okay, so first things first, let's jump into the box office numbers. I don't want to make this video too long, but again, there's a lot of content to cover here. So let's look at that. Pull this down. All right. Double check, make sure we're there. Perfect. Okay. So two things to this. One is Adam Aaron put out a tweet, I think on the day after the new year, January 2nd. And basically he was a little bearish. He was saying that the box office numbers weren't up to par. They weren't like meeting projections like they thought they were going to be. So it sounded kind of negative in the beginning, but at the end of his tweet, he said, let the good times roll, right? And they're very, very bullish, you know, towards the end of that tweet, that huge like 4-page thing that he wrote up. Sounds very bullish, looking forward for 2026 and beyond. It seems like a lot of the issues that were kind of like up in the air are now out of the way, such as the refinancing of the debt, right? And the writer strike stuff all finally being out of the way. Those delays and issues should be now in the rearview mirror, okay? So we shouldn't have to worry about anything catastrophic like that now going forward, knock on wood, all right? But when we're looking at the numbers here for total gross on the year, we went 8.65 billion for 2025. Last year for 2024, it was 8.571 billion. Okay, we're up 1%. I know it's not significant. I'm not going to sit here beat my chest, you know, super excited like, yeah, that's awesome. However, guys, it was not a negative drop off year over year, which I think is very helpful because again, a lot of the bear case just gets strengthened over the stupidest little negative thing, right? Like it could have been down 3% right here and it would have been like fucking okay, this is now going to zero. It could have been all this like really more negative sentiment than we already have. So the fact that we are positive, it's a little something that we got working in our favor. So take that with a grain of salt. That's just my perspective, but we did have an increase of like $10 million year over year. So we'll call it pretty flat, pretty neutral, right? And I think they were projecting like 9 billion, I think, for 2025 or something like that is what they thought roundabout it was going to be. But I'm going to tell you right now what I see as the issue. It is not the money per movie, right? If you look at the numbers for the average release for 2025, look at this, $13 million almost, right? And then you see the numbers here, even the prior years, right? 15 million in 2023. But I think that was the backlog of releases that came out because of the delays. So 15 million per movie, 12.6 million per movie, 13 million per movie right here for 2025, as I said. Now, the main issue and the last thing I'll say about this domestic box office is that the release numbers are down. We got to get more releases, okay? If we go back to pre-pandemic, that's what they keep referencing, right? Oh, well, it's not doing as good as the pre-pandemic. Yeah, we fucking know that, guys, because look at the number of releases you had in the pre-pandemic. It was 910 compared to 666, okay? You're talking like almost 300, right? 250 release difference. So if we do the math on this, guys, roughly, if we had an extra 250 releases here, and let's just say this number comes down a little bit, to like 12.5, we're still hitting around these numbers, right? Look, 12.5 basically round up right here for 2019. Guys, we would be at this number, 11.3 billion. Okay, and I think we would actually exceed this because you have to understand ticket prices went up for the movies, concession prices went up, inflation went up since 2019 hugely. So I'm just saying, big problem that I see is the number of releases. When this number gets back up to even like 700, maybe 750, let's say, for 2026, if we can get more releases going, then these numbers are all going to jack right back up to what they were before. And if we can get another 2 billion in total gross. Guys, you don't think that's not going to put us in the net positive? I mean, for sure, we're going to be the net positive. If you can get an extra $2 billion in gross, right? And AMC is getting the majority of the market share of the gross earnings for the movie chains, it only makes sense that we'd be in the net positive by a couple $100 million, I would imagine. So for me, it just makes sense. That's the biggest issue I'm seeing. I don't know where this idea comes from. There's no demand. The demand's there, but there's not enough movies to see yet. We've got to get more movies going. I mean, the attendance is great. From all the numbers that we see. That's just my little rant about the box office. I wanted to share that. And again, just sort of like how Adam Aaron tweeted and the language he was using and kind of the sentiment. Okay. So let's jump over into the charting here. Let's go to my setup, and of course I gotta blow the window up. Hold on a second. Let's go right there. Boom. Okay, now let's jump into the TA part. All right, so what do I got drawn up here? When I see this peak right here, this is the massive cliff right here that we suffered, right, with the whole split ape whatever combo, just straight lines down, right? And I'm on the weekly right now just so you guys can see a far out view. But when I pull this up, basically, guys, when the price action tried to rebound from this ginormous, I mean, look at this fucking red candle. When the price action tried to revert and jump back up, right, to stop this bleeding, it got rejected here. So I have my trend line. This is 1390, I believe, right? 1390-ish, this line. I draw this in connection to our 1188 peak right down here, and then you just let it ride. That is the first point of contact without it touching any of the other price action or ripping through the candles, right? So there's your 1390 resistance line. The next line we connect obviously would be this one, right, from this peak. And when you bring this trend line all the way down, the first point of contact is going to be right down here, okay? That's your first point of contact. That is your 1188 resistance line. The next most significant one would be this 556 peak, right? Because this is the one we've been trapped under for a year. So you see the 556 trend line right here going all the way down. It connects right here, okay? So that is your three main points of interest trend line wise and resistance wise that I see for AMC right now, okay? So you get the far out view of this, and you can see the price action has been bouncing, like I said, on your 556 line, right, all the way down here. And look at where the price action has compressed. I actually just drew this little trend channel up using one of the tools over here on Webull. And you can see as it's bouncing in and out of this channel, right? You break the midline and it comes up to test the top. But right here, you have your 556 resistance line and your 1188 just waiting right there, even above the resistance of the top of the trend channel. So it makes sense, guys, that this gets rejected. It comes back down. Right here, again, you see it reject at the 556 line, bounce all the way down to the bottom of the channel to the very, very bottom. As I zoom in on the daily, we get a better inside view of this entire setup and range that has been traded, right? These two green lines, by the way, are your supports, right? And I say supports as like really ghostly, rough supports. So not really strong at all. I mean, this is like legitimately macro bottom support right here. But from your 238 low before the $11 run up here, I have set up. I have this descending all the way down to connect with the price action. You can see the bounce down here at the two green lines. I mean, I could actually lower this because this was when it was at 150, I think. So now we're actually looking like this. That's updated now. So when we go like that, we lock it in. Even this line too, we almost have to tweak this slightly. So I'll show you live how I do this right here. Boom. Okay, there you go. Now you have your intersections for your supports. And then as you can see, I already have the resistances locked in. Nothing's changed there up the top. So those are your bottom supports, right, that we see the bounce. And obviously this 10%, 13% candle shows us pretty good strength off this support right here for now, okay? But yeah, you came through this channel, died all the way down to the very, very end of it. Ridiculous, right? Jumping, like I said, bouncing off the 144. So right now, where are we headed, okay, with this structure that I have drawn up? As I've shown you guys, these red resistance lines, right, with the price action and the supports on the bottom, they're all converging right around here in this point. There's a little bit of a pocket right here. There's not much room to trade candles in here, guys, especially when you're getting a big pop like this, 13% candle. It looks like it's heading out, right? It's trying to pop out of this little box in here, okay? Now, the first scenario would be is if this is like some kind of little fake out and then it comes back down, it bounces off the resistance once again, then you're probably going to get candles that like form down in here, little mini moves, going to be very frustrating and slow in this pocket all throughout January. But look at the intersection point, right? The breakout of this would be the end of January, which I find very funny because, again, I've been telling you for January 2021, the blueprint, right, is pretty much matching. It would be hilarious if we have a legit anniversary date 5 years later at the end of January and this thing starts melting up out of here, or at least, turning around, like having a full breakout, right? So we're getting very close. That's your trading range. Anybody telling you this is going to fucking melt up any minute, and for sure with a certainty, I'm showing you right now the amount of trading range that's in here. It definitely could. Like, we could open up Monday and this could just blast through this. But I want to just cool the temperament, right? Because I feel like people and the patience, right, with this move, some people get very excited off a 10, 13% move, but we still have not broken my resistance lines that I see on this chart yet. And until we do so, and I told you guys, until I see candles printing above these red resistance lines with strength continuation, then I'll feel good about it, right? I don't want to see a big move up real quick and then it comes back underneath these trend lines. That's not a good sign, okay? So I'm just kind of trying to keep everything kosher, trying to keep the emotions in check when it comes to this move, right? Good. It's exciting that we finally, looks like we got some kind of reversal. And I told you we were in like a really slow, deathly terminal shakeout here for a long time. This is going back to really 12/9, beginning of December. And I really thought that that's what this was. It was like a really slow, drawn out terminal shakeout. Usually you see like a knife down kind of thing, which we still could get. But I'm going to go over the scenarios in terms of the projection of the price targets, okay? Let's go over the pivot point indicators before I rant too long here. So you see the pivot point, right? This is your mid-neutral line. You see the candle coming up, right? Didn't even touch it yet. We're on the daily time frame. Didn't touch it yet. We need to see a candle print above this pivot line, guys, at 185 roughly, round up. We need to see a candle close above this pivot line to show continuation and direction towards R1, resistance 1, which is at 215, okay? If this moves up like stocks typically do with this indicator, right? Typically you get up to R3 and there will be some kind of cooling off or pullback, okay? If we get that continuation, guys, if you get past R1 and you get up to R2, minimum R2 is at 274, you've already broken your trend lines. And that's significant for me. When you break this line and this one here, and we get candles closing above this with strength, right, and continuation, even if it pulls back, if we get candles and it continues all the way up to R3, but then we pull back, test the top of this channel, right, and then we continue off it, that's when I know that the full turnaround has been initiated, okay? The turning point, the pivot low is in. We will see this sort of V-shaped recovery out of this thing. And the speed of which that's going to look like is going to depend on a lot of things happening in the world, the broader market. It's going to be different, right? Depending on the scenario or what the excuse is going to be, right? Could be the MNPI that Adam Aaron is talking about. Maybe it's at the end of January. He announces some major acquisition, merger type of deal. I know he mentioned Netflix and doing more deals with Netflix in the future. Netflix is in the process of purchasing Warner Bros. So who knows, guys, if AMC is tied into that somehow, some way, or what plans Netflix may have if they actually closed a deal on that, because it's still up in the air yet. I think Paramount's actually like trying to take legal action against Netflix. There's a lot of fucking shit going on with that, but I could go on. But nonetheless, the MNPI that he's announcing, maybe that could be part of the reason why this starts melting, right? But nonetheless, you could also get the stair steps, like I said in the past. Let's use our poly line. Like I said, you could get moves like this, right, where this thing starts to just move like stairs, right, up. You could get a move like that, nice and steady, but just continual progression. right? You might even get a meltdown all the way to touch back down here again. I don't know. There's a lot of just scenarios that I could see with the amount of fuckery that's going on, and then you could start getting the push back up, this way. So there's that scenario, right? Nice and steady, or we plow through all these levels, guys, with huge candles, right? Squeeze like 2021 style, right? 1200% move, something like that. But these are your targets initially, okay? To the upside, you have your pivot, 185, R1, 215, R2, 274, and then 305 R3. Okay, that's your upside targets. If this is not over and like we get rejected again at this goddamn trend line for what seems like the 1000th time, I over exaggerate, but nonetheless, that's how it feels when it's been this drawn out. If we get rejected, we go down to probably S1 at 125. If that does not hold and we don't get the vicious reversal off that and breaking these trend lines, you're talking about going down to S2 at 93 cents, 94 cents, 95 cents right here. Okay. And obviously S3 is 35 cents. We don't want to see that, right? That'd be crazy to see it go that low. When I mentioned the breakdown before using the supports right here, right, S1, S2, we were right around this area. And I told you guys, because of this candle and how it printed under S2 with this wick, and then you certainly got one right here, that showed me that continued downside was coming, right? All the way down past even S3. It just broke it, right? Past S3. So we really hit the bottom of the barrel on the supports here. So I'm really hoping that that's it. I would not imagine that we could still just keep going all the way down at this S3 unless there's something catastrophic. But these pivot lines, the R1 or the resistance pivots and the support pivots, these last on the daily time frame 30 days. Okay. And that ended right on 12/31. So we went all the way through them right at the very end of the month and hit that low. So now you have these new ones generated. That's why we have the updated pivot points. So these are the ones we're looking for right now going forward. All right. Now, why this area is so significant in here, I'm going to show you our EMAs real quick. Okay. We look at our EMAs and you could see right now price action's just getting pushed above this 9-day EMA is like slicing the top of this candle in half. We got to see candles close above the 9 EMA for continuation, obviously. All right. But where it's really significant is when you look at our 200 EMA. I told you in the past how significant that is, right? In terms of the macro moving of this stock. 286 is your 200 EMA. Well, I just told you that your R2 and R3 are sitting right here. And typically when we're getting a move to the upside, that's what you'll see is they will move and get resisted at one of these points, right? Price action can go all the way to R3 and then, cool off, or price action can go all the way to R2, typically float around here, maybe full off, take a breather, or even R1. It can come up, get rejected at R1. But typically when you're this oversold on our RSI, I'll go over that in a minute, you would think that we get a nice full move through here. However, if you do that, you're breaking your 200 EMA slightly, right? I mean, you're going to 305. I just told you the 200 is sitting at 285. So when this price action floats all the way up through here and slices up past it, that's going to be a key point for me. There's going to be a lot of resistance to watch for, not just down here, right? You have one resistant trend line here. You have the pivot line to get past. You have the first resistance 1 target for the pivot point. Then you have your 1188 line. Then you start to get into the other outer resistance of the R2, 200 EMA, and then R3. So it's a lot to fight through here. That's why I'm not really getting too excited until I see how is this going to progress through this, right? How are we going to move through these resistance points, okay? But that's a really significant area right here on this area, right? Is in this zone. Is how is this price action going to survive this area? Because it's going to happen one of two ways. One is your price action, just bear with me. You get to the top of this resistance line, right? Let's just say, shits and giggles here, we'll go like this. You start getting in the zone, right? One scenario is it could just come up to the 200 and reject down, right? And I would not think even with this, we would fall through and go right back down to this trend line down here. I would think you would get a bounce here. That's just me. But then you would get the push through the next time, right? Maybe you come back up to it. And then as this 200 is floating down, maybe the 200 now becomes your point of support before continuation to the upside. And that's where the party really starts. but we have got to get out of this zone, okay? Real quick, I go back. Let's get out of the damn EMAs. Let's get these off and get the pivot points off. But to give you that representation of what I'm seeing, guys, again, it's really this box. I have brought this up before, right? Boom, all the way down to the macro low right here. This is what I'm seeing, right? Let's make this white box, give you an idea. So from this 1390, from the 144 bottom, we have got to get out of this entire zone for the melt up to truly begin. And why I say that is because all of your resistance and choppiness and accumulation is happening inside of this box range. This is just the ceiling of it. But once you get past this box, guys, look at to your left. There's no resistance here at all. It is a flat line down. And just like it is a flat line down, when you break out of it to this side over here, you will get a nice melt up, couple candles probably to claim this again. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. You also have these gap fills right in here as well, okay? You can see one right in here, and then you can see the other gap fill right in here to the upside. Minimum up to $43. So that is what I'm seeing with this trading range in here. This has just been one massive accumulation. Very ugly, I know, but that is it, guys. You get out of this damn box, we're off to the races, okay? There's not much else to do after that other than go up. I mean, this has been driven all the way down. We're at like 99% down at this point, right? So when you break out of this zone with these pivot points right in here, you could see our 1390 is also up here. We cannot forget about it. Yes, we will be above the 200 at this point where we're in this price range. Yes, we will be past the initial pivot points, right? But at the same time, this is your final resistance before I think the melting up that side cliff starts happening, right? I think this is it. This would be your final line around $6 and $7-ish, right? Well, let's see, as it's descending, somewhere around $6.90 to $7. When you get up there, that could be a point where you get pushed back down to some degree, right? Maybe have this 556 be the new support before continuation, right? Could definitely see it going like that as well. Once you get up to this resistance here, if you plow through all of this, I would assume this would be the final stopping point, right? That's just me guesstimating, but yeah, then maybe a breakdown as the price action comes up. Maybe you have a move that looks somewhat like this for your visual, my visual people out here. If you get like, maybe not in all this one shot, but just for a visual, like you come up, price action works its way up to this point, then you come back down, and this is your new support before breaking out, and then we're off to the races. That's what I'm seeing in terms of how this could look with the resistances set. There's also some peaks down here where you can have some stair steps or stopping points, right? Have your pit stops down here at these levels right here. But I think once you get out of there, guys, you're pretty much going to start booming out of here real quick. I don't think they're going to give you much time to accumulate as this stair steps up, okay? So that's what I'm seeing for the price action for AMC in terms of our resistances. The only other indicators I want to take you guys through real quick, if you look at the volume profile really quickly here, let me zoom in. Another indicator I like to use every so often when it comes to projecting bigger moves. Once again, as I just showed you, I'm going to put up a lot of stuff real quick, okay? And I know it's going to be kind of like a lot to consume. When I put these indicators all up at the same time, scroll right about here. We got this blue bar in the middle lined up. So this white line is your point of control for the trading volume, right? You see the volume in the middle. This is very, very significant volume. This is where a lot of your resistance is going to come in, guys, right here in this blue bar for the VP. Okay, your volume profile is right all up in here. That's the most significant bars that you can see all stacked together. So when price action comes up, you've got to get above the point of control. Your 200 is sitting right here as well. It's very crazy, guys, how much resistance is sitting right in this area. I'm telling you right now, you get above this 285 and hold, this fucking thing is going to start ripping faces off because there is so much pressure sitting right here at these levels. R2 for the pivot point. You've got your volume profile, point of control bar right fucking here, sticking way out. You have your 200 EMA resistance. You have another pivot point resistance through here. You have your value area high right here at 322. I mean, this is significant. If we can get past this level, this thing's going to go. Like, it's just going to be gone, in my opinion. That's just me. If you guys see anything different, you can drop a comment below. Let me know if I'm missing anything, but that looks really damn good. It's going to be hell, I think, getting through this. And I hope I'm wrong. Hopefully we just fucking melt through it. But I'm telling you, with everything stacked up here, guys, it just makes sense. At that crucial point, we've got to break that zone. Other indicators before I let you guys go today, look at the damn RSI on this thing. RSI was down in like 18, 17, 18. Very super oversold levels, right? So we get the reversal off this, guys. You see it here. It's at 38 right now. Obviously, it would make sense. Like, if we're really going to break out of this, like, this will start melting up as well. So we hit a pivot, not an all-time low in terms of RSI, but very damn close, right? I think like 15, 16 was like the lowest RSI in AMC's history. Very close, okay? So that's just what I'm seeing on the RSI. Lastly, the two things I want to go over to indicator-wise would be Bollinger Bands. Looking at these, if you go to look at these on the monthly, look at the Bollinger Band separation here before 2021 squeeze and the June squeeze right here. Look at the Bollinger Bands and the distance between, right? You go here to present day. This is fucking insane, guys. I'm telling you right now, the way everything's looking, it just looks crazy. Like, look at the pressure on the monthly on the Bollinger Bands in here. Okay, this is crazy to me. So a lot of pressure in here. And when you get past this, guys, it's a wrap, right? And you can already see we're generating a green candle on the monthly. Nothing too crazy. It's just a 10% move. But I'm telling you, if we break past these resistance lines in here, I mean, guys, Bollinger Bands even look good. MACD, go to the daily once again. Look at this. MACD right here, obviously you see this long downtrend right here. You can see the bullish volume is dying. You could see this coming a mile away to a degree, like especially like right in here when you had this drop off. Once you see this, yep, here comes the red volume, right? Peaking right here, then just starts to fade, right? Red volume is fading, bearish volume fading. Now we're green. So MACD just flipped green. And then even on the bottom, you have your MACD line crossing up over the signal line. That's bullish. Okay, I do not anticipate this move being dead off this. I would be very surprised, but the way the MACD is looking, the way the RSI is positioned, the way our resistance is positioned in here, it looks like this could be the time, right? A crucial point to break this. Because like I said, if you don't break it now, guys, we are heading back below even this new all-time low, making another one at maybe 123, 124, something like that. Okay, so that's me just being completely transparent from what I'm seeing. I'm not going to beat my chest and every day scream we're melting up, we're squeezing like every other fucking dummy is doing, because they're not looking at this from a logical perspective, right? They're letting their emotions take charge. And again, I'm excited, guys. Trust me. I can see both scenarios playing out, but that is what we need to get past, is this zone. All right. If you guys have any other questions, please, like I said, drop a comment down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, guys, if you're new, because this thing is looking crucial right now at a real, I want to use the word pivot point, but I can't. There's nothing else I could say. It's at a pivot point, right? And several pivot points that we need to go up, but you get the idea. We're right there, ready once again to test this area. So you're going to want to stay in the loop with us, man. I appreciate you guys stopping by. I will do a new update video, guys. This is going to be a deeper dive video just for AMC because there's so much shit to cover. But I'm going to cover Rivian. I'm still going to be covering Neo. Those ones all look good. SPY looks good, hitting all-time highs. Our IWM broke out of its bracket. I guess that's the last thing I should really mention because it is significant. The IWM, guys, broke out of my pennant here. This thing is now got candles printing above at 261. That is fucking huge. I don't think you understand the magnitude of this move yet, but you're going to soon find out. And I think this month it's going to start kicking off. All right, I think we're going to see a lot of things start kicking off this month. And that's not just me saying it to say it. I'm showing you the evidence of what I'm seeing. The rejections that have happened here multiple times, you finally break out. I see continuation going forward, okay? So you guys stay in the loop. I hope everyone has a great new year. I think this is going to be really, really fun, man, when this starts moving. So I'll keep you guys up to date. I'll see you in the next video. Everybody, take care.